Hello there, my name is Michael Keys and I'm author of the Make More Sales series of seminars, and I want to say welcome and I thank you and I honour you for taking the time to watch this video. The last training video I sent out a couple months ago was all about high performance, how to be a high performance expert. I want to go a bit deeper on this, on how to become a high performing salesperson and how to get the most out of your life. We only get so many seconds in a day and we've got to make sure that every second that we have is high performance. I love talking about this because you see, there was a time when I was not a high performer. I was a pessimist. Things in my life weren't going right. And I turned it around and I went from a 7-week sales slump to selling 19 houses the very next month and then 11 houses per month for many years, and I became a high performer. So I got hooked on it, and I got hooked on learning on how to maintain and be a high performing salesperson. Ralph Sherrill says this: nobody succeeds beyond their wildest expectations unless they have some wild expectations. What are your wild expectations for yourself? Go on, dare to dream. Dare to dream, dare to have some wild expectations about what you would love in your life. No matter where you are right now, you can have what you want in your life if you decide to become a high performing person and a high performing salesperson. That's why becoming a high performing person is as important as becoming a high performing salesperson. In fact, it is more important to become a high performing person because you can't be a high performing salesperson unless you are a high performing person. Now, what's the definition of high performance? Well, the definition of high performance is outperforming standard measures over the long term, or outperforming yourself over a long term. And that is outperforming what you've done in the past, beating your best, and whatever your best has been in the past, you say, I'm going to beat that and I'm going to do better. And that is being a high performing salesperson. Author Brendon Burchard says this: we have 3 choices. We can live a caged life. And a caged life is one where you clock on, clock off, you are told every day what you've got to do, you can only earn a certain amount of money, and you are caged, you're locked in. You're probably going to live in the same house all your life. You're just going to be caged in. You're like that caged lion pacing up and down in the zoo. You don't want to live a caged life. And then the second type of life is the comfortable life, the comfort life. And this is where you get comfortable. You have the salary you want, you've got the job you want, you play to your strengths all the time, you never develop your weaknesses, and you're just in the comfort zone. You think you're comfortable, but there's something missing in your life because you're not living the charged life. And this is what Brendon Burchard says: you've got to live the charged life. And the charged life is where you push yourself to your high performance. You develop your weaknesses. You work to your strengths and you develop your weaknesses and you become a high performing salesperson. So what gets a person to high performance? And there are 7 core things that get people to high performance. And the first thing is they are open and observant to the present, the now that we live in. It's like a sports star. They play the game. And when they're on that court, they are totally focused in the game that they are in. Now, I don't like calling real estate a game. I would prefer to call it a profession. But when you're in that profession, when you are listing and selling real estate, what you do is this: is you be present. You focus on the game that you're in. You focus on where you're at right now so that you can be the very best and you can be a high performing salesperson. When I made my best sale ever, my biggest sale ever, my sales assistant said to me, "You're amazing. You made a sale in the morning, you make your biggest sale ever, you got like blinker vision on, you know, like the horses used to wear, the blinker vision. And then you go out and make a sale that afternoon, you're on a listing that night." He said, "You didn't miss a beat. Some people would just wallow in the glory of making the biggest sale ever." No, when you're in the game, you've got to play. You can't just kick one goal, you've got to kick many goals in a game. And this is where high performance salespeople, high performing salespeople outshine every other salesperson that's out there because they live in the present. They play the game for what it is now. And the second thing is they are future orientated. High performance salespeople live an enthusiastic life. And enthusiasm comes from positive energy, positive expectation, and positive vision for the future. I can remember a night I was lying in bed and I could visualize 8 sales in the future. And I could see them one after the other this buyer was going to buy that house, and it all happened as I visualised it that night. Within the next week or so, I made 8 sales. Absolutely brilliant. And they say without vision, people perish. So have a good, positive vision for yourself. Look to the future with enthusiasm. And then work in the present and work like crazy with your blinker vision on and focus on what it is you can achieve right this minute, right now. High performance salespeople, the third point is challenge seekers. They are challenge seekers. What they do is they go out and they get the tough listings, they achieve and they get the tough price reductions, and they put those tough sales together with the buyers who've got their arms folded and say, we're not going to go up, and they get them up another $20,000 or $30,000 and they make the sales. These are high performing salespeople. Because why? Because they have a mindset to be high performing and their skill levels are on the way to mastery as well. The fourth point is connection lovers. High performance salespeople love to connect with people. They love and they connect with people so much that they become clients for life. You see, good friends in life are so important. And good friends are not maintenance friends, they are growth friends. And your friends, your very best friends, push you to grow to be a high performing person. The next point is self-reliant. High performance salespeople take responsibility for every area of their life. They take blame and excuses out. They might explain some things away and they might explain why something didn't happen, but they don't make excuses and they don't blame people for where they're at. They say, I am responsible, I am here, I am right now. And as Brian Tracy says, I am responsible. If it's going to be, it's up to me. The sixth point is creative driven and creative expression. You see, the happiest people in the world are the most creative. And we as high performing salespeople have the opportunity to be the happiest people in the world. Because why? Because we can create sales. We can create sales every day of the week. If you have persistence, you have enthusiasm, you have a great attitude, you can create sales that average salespeople would not put together. Who would have been one of the most creative people in the world? It would have been Steve Jobs. And that's why the world is still mourning his loss, his tragic death through cancer, because he was so creative. He said, I wanted to put 1,000 songs on a little box, and he did it. He put the 1,000 songs on there. And then he wanted the iPhone, and he got the iPhone. And then he wanted the iPad, and he got the iPad. And he had these creative ideas, and he just said, we are going to do it. Can you imagine Steve Jobs as a pessimist? You just can't imagine it. He just imagined things and then brought them into reality. So be creative. And if you want to be moved, read the eulogy that his sister read for him at his funeral. It's online, you can get it, you can read it, and it's just wonderful. The next point, the seventh point, and the most important point, is meaning makers. High-performing salespeople are meaning makers. They make meaningful connections with people in life. They create great memories for people in life. And so what high-performing salespeople do is they create great relationships with people, and I've spoken about this before, but you create great relationships so that you have clients for life. And these clients love you, adore you, and they will not go anywhere else by applying these 7 principles to your high-performance careers. Pessimists accomplish the least in the world. Optimists accomplish the most. And the old saying, I'd rather be an optimist who's wrong than a pessimist that's right. Be an optimistic. Be optimistic about everything you go on. That listing you're going on this afternoon or that listing you're going on tomorrow, make sure you're optimistic about it and believe that you can get it. Have I mastered all of these 7? No, I haven't. I want to master them one day, but mastery is something that's a journey. Mastery is not something you ever reach. You're always learning how to be better at things. And high-performance salespeople, the beauty of this is, if you're on your path to being a high-performance salesperson, you have choices that average salespeople don't have, that mediocre salespeople don't have. You can have the house you want, you can have the car you want to drive. And high-performing salespeople are high-performance people, and therefore they have the relationships they want and they live a well-balanced life. So make the decision, make it right now to become a high-performance salesperson and a high-performance person. And how would you feel if you started every day passionately focused and excellent about everything you do? How would you feel? you'd feel pretty good about it, wouldn't you? You'd feel unbelievable about it. And when I got up this morning, I said I'm going to be passionate about this day. I am passionate about this day I've been given. And you get given a day because we have no contracts with tomorrow. The only contract we have was with this moment that we're in right now, in this day. Focus married with time produces mastery. And the way we feel well about ourselves is more important than any skill level or any technique that we have. You can have somebody who is ultra enthusiastic and their skill levels are low and they'll go out and make sales because of their enthusiasm, but a pessimist who has high skill levels but doesn't go out with enthusiasm won't make many sales, and they aren't a high performing salesperson. You can be having a great day and the listings and sales just flow in. Why? Because you are positive, you're enthusiastic, and you've got a great attitude. And then you have another day when you're feeling a bit off, your mood is just a bit off, and you go to a listing that you believe is a sure thing, and what happens? You don't get it. Why? Because you don't have a great attitude and you're not in a positive mood. Watch your moods. It is so important for high-performing salespeople and high-performing people to have a good mood. So to be a high-performance salesperson, you have to be a high-performance person. And to be a high-performance person, you have to have a good day, all day, every day. You do this by controlling your thoughts, and your thoughts control your mind. And your thoughts are so powerful, and your mind actually controls your brain. So everything flows from our thoughts. Now, Weldon Long is a great public speaker. He's one of the most motivational people I've ever seen. He spent most of his life in jail for armed robbery. And he's only been out a couple of years, but he's become a very successful business person. And the day his life changed was when he was in jail and the jail warden came and told him that his father had died. And he said, my father went to his grave thinking I was a loser, thinking I was a career criminal. And he said, I just got so sick of that I had to change. So he started studying. He got an MBA and he wrote some goals. And one of his goals was to, because he'd been reading a book by Wayne Dwyer, and Wayne Dwyer talked about writing a book in Maui, he wanted to have a house in Maui and write a book. And he thought Maui was out in the Caribbean, where it's not, it's in Hawaii. So he now owns a house in Maui. But what he said, and he has this great saying, he says, really? You think it's tough? You try and come out of jail, be in a halfway house, and you go for jobs like washing cars, and they will not touch you because you've got a career of being an armed robber. He said, that's tough, you come out of jail. But he said, I was determined to succeed. High performance people are determined to succeed. Their thoughts become their reality. His goals have become his reality. Our goals can become our reality if we make the decision to become a high performing person. Our thoughts become truth. And he tells this story. There's two girls out on a Saturday night, and they're driving around in a car, they have a horrible accident and they're mutilated beyond recognition. And the parents come to the hospital, and these parents think that this daughter is their child and this girl is their child to these other parents. This girl dies, the other girl's in a coma. So the parents are in mourning, they take the girl, they bury her, and a couple of weeks later this girl wakes up out of the coma and she looks up and says to people, what are you doing here? Where's my parents? Now, up until that time, up until that very moment in time, the truth was that these people thought that that was their daughter. And these people over here thought they had buried their daughter. See how powerful our thoughts are? That was the truth. We've got to be so careful about what we put into our mind that it becomes that what we put in will become truth in our lives. So we have to think good thoughts at all times, because thoughts trigger emotions. Emotions trigger actions, and actions trigger results. This is why you've got to be careful to have good thoughts. And I want to share with you things now that you should be thinking about. And these are the 10 steps to making a good sale. And the first step is the foundation. You've got to have a great foundation. What's the foundation? It's having a good attitude and being enthusiastic. The second part is building rapport. The third part is predicting the future with a good opening. You've got to have a strong opening. And sometimes just saying, how are you? And listening with your full attention to people is a great opening, because a lot of people, what's lacking in life today, and I've said this before, I'm going to say it, a lot of times is lacking in life today is attention. People just don't give people their attention. They're too worried about I. So, qualifying is the next point. You've got to be able to qualify. The fifth point is presentation. Now in high performance selling, which is a seminar I've got coming up, and it starts in early November, I'm taking around the country. High performance selling, I have an iPad listing presentation, and in that presentation I go through it in great detail on how you can get more listings and make more sales through an iPad listing presentation. So the next point is number 6 is handling objections. You go through objections and there's a formula for handling objections. The next point is trial closing. You go through trial closes to get the yes momentum going, to get people to get onto the yes momentum. And then the next point is you become a master asker and you ask good, intelligent questions to lead people to where they want to go. And then you get onto the form filling, and then you've got the major close. And in high performance selling, which is the seminar, as I said, in November, 21 closes, different closes from Make More Sales, 21 closes and how they apply to listings, how they apply to getting price reductions, and how they apply to getting buyers to buy. Because my goal in life is to help you make more sales. The only weather that matters is the weather that's within us. It doesn't matter what's happening outside of us, the weather within us is so important. So we've got to keep our mind right and focused on where we want to go and what we want to do. And remember, anything else we think about, we give power to. So think about what you want. Have you ever wasted 3 days? Have you ever wallowed in self-pity? Well, I have, and I'm ashamed to say it. I have wasted 3 days. I've wallowed in self-pity. And it wasn't until the day that my trials coordinator said to my wife that had I got to hospital 3 days later, I wouldn't have survived. Now that day changed my life. And I thought, I am never going to waste 3 days wallowing in self-pity. I'm not going to waste 3 minutes because it's just such a waste of time. So then I thought, what I'm going to focus on, I want you to focus on, to be a high performance salesperson, a high performing person, you've got to focus on yourself. First of all, you've got to get yourself right. Without you being right, nothing in your world will be right. The second thing you've got to focus on and get passionate about is your relationships with people. You've got to have great relationships with yourself to start with your spouse, with your family, with your work colleagues, with your boss, and then with your clients and customers. And then you've got to get passionate about your career. Because if you get passionate about your career, everything in your life opens up. Now, I have lived without money and I have lived with money. And I can tell you what, money isn't the most important thing in life, but as Brian Tracy says, it's right up there with oxygen. So, and in this wonderful world of real estate, we can make more sales and we can make more money through focusing on our career and being committed to being a high-performing salesperson. You see, I believe we all have a guardian angel. And what you've got to do is you've got to listen to that inner voice that's telling you to do the right things that you're capable of in your life. And you follow that and you go with it. Would you like to have a good day every day? Do you believe it's possible to have a good day all day, every day? And I can hear what you're saying. What's he talking about? Having a good day all day, every day? You don't understand. You don't have to work with the boss I work with. You don't have to work with the salespeople I work with. You don't have a spouse like mine. You don't have an area like mine. Well, I can tell you now that I'm going to share with you some of the secrets of the basics on how to have a good day all day, every day. And the biggest secret is that there are no secrets. You see, anything that I'm sharing with you today has come from other people. Anything that I'm sharing with you in the future, anything I've shared with you in the past has come from other people, because the masters have left us a trail to follow on the path to success. People like one of my favourite authors of all time, Og Mandino, people like Brian Tracy, people like Jim Rohn, people like Zig Ziglar. Those people have left such a path for us to follow. It is just unbelievable. And these masters have dedicated their lives to sharing what they have learned about having a good day all day, every day. And so these people have been on the path before us, and they have studied leadership, they've studied motivation, they've studied psychology, they've studied all of these things, and they share it with us. And what we've got to do is study these things. And Og Mandino says this, and he tells a story, and it's a beautiful story. It's in ancient Japan. The tradition was that the eldest son would take the elderly parent to a mountain to die when they reached a certain age. This was when the elderly parent reached a certain age. And the time came for this mother to be taken to the top of a mountain. So the eldest son and mum pack up, and she said goodbye to everybody. It was sad. So that they left, and they're on their way up to this mountain. And along the way, mum's breaking off these branches. And it's a journey of a couple of weeks. And by the time they get to the top of the mountain, the son finally asks, says, "Mum, why have you been breaking off the branches all the way?" She said, "So you've got a safe path to follow." And so the son could get home safely. These masters like Og Mandino have left a path for us. And all we've got to do is follow that path. So the biggest secret in life is that there are no secrets on how to have a good day, all day, every day. Now I'm going to be covering on how to have a good day, all day, every day in high performance selling. And I'm also going to be covering it more in the next video that comes out. So until then, until the next video, which will be out in the next day or so, I'll say goodbye, and I wish you a good day, all day, every day.